Hi, this is Variety Shonaver for Akashi Media Podcast Live, giving you a commentary on the homeless crisis in California, just in the United States, period, at this time. As you know, the homeless crisis is something that has been going on for quite some time now, globally, different places, but basically I'm just going to speak on what's been going on currently in California and just the United States itself. There are different programs that took place when the COVID-19 pandemic came about. And as you know, there are a lot of homeless people already before the COVID-19 and the pandemic hit. So there were supposed to be programs that were supposed to support people, whether they had homelessness or whether they had homes. There are programs such as that's really supposed to be financed through HUD, through the executive order of the United States, through the White House, and funding are approved from the White House level, and then they're given to government agencies, and government agencies give these funding through these nonprofit organizations, and then these nonprofit organizations are supposed to be giving help to the people. And then also the White House also can automatically issue support, and then the IRS agencies such as that, and can also issue funding through the Americans like they did with the pandemic checks themselves because of the executive order that came from the White House. Some people received their benefits, some people did not. Some people applied, some did not. Same thing with the EDD pandemic. When the EDD pandemic, which is the unemployment agency in California, was receiving pandemics, there was a lot of crimes that started being committed. People were committing a lot of fraud. A lot of people went to prison. Attorneys, employees of the unemployment department, so on and so forth. And it became like a big scam of identity theft for people. People that were supposed to receive their unemployment pandemic checks never received their pandemic unemployment checks at all whatsoever. Then there came agencies that were supposed to be supporting people in housing, such as St. Joseph's and People Concern, and a lot of other agencies, PATH, People Helping People, and so on and so forth. And I know people who have been in dire straits situations with dealing with agencies, even with housing authority and things like that. And these people have not been really getting the support that they really needed. And so there's some things that I looked at and I recognized, and I saw how things are being handled. You have celebrities that support different agencies all the time, and they come out on Thanksgiving, give turkeys out and things like that, And then you have the community that may have these celebrities that live in these communities as well, and just normal people who work every day, and they may have certain communities that they reside in that's supposed to be uppity or luxurious and so on and so forth. And then you have the homeless problem in these different communities where people are sleeping in front of their houses, sleeping in their cars, so on and so forth. And people try to create a problem for them and act as if they're being bothered so much, and so on and so forth. But then later on, they want to come out and serve them food, give them food to eat, and so on. So there was a situation particularly that happens quite a bit, where you have homeless people, and then you're supposed to have street food advocates at agencies like LASA and which LAHS is considered to be the Los Angeles Homeless Authority, under, I guess, the regular housing authority itself. That's supposed to be a section that's supposed to help homeless people. And you have these people that come out on foot that say that, oh, we're not open to the public. We don't have any office for anyone to come to. And then they'll have people that come up to homeless people and say, okay, we're going to provide showers and things like this, public showers, and they bring the public shower wagons, so on and so forth. And, people may go or whatever to shower and things like that. And then, they'll ask them for their name, their ID information, last four digits of their social security number, saying that they're going to put them in a system of the CES or whatever central system that is that's supposed to help them from one area to another area to find them housing and things like that. And, what has happened is that when people don't have their an address and things like that, people say from these agencies like St. Joseph's, LASA, and everything that they suggest that they work with agencies that they're supposed to be approved to help them get housing and placement in housing and things like that. A lot of these agencies programs are run like they're halfway houses. They ran like they're mental health agencies or mental health hospitals and things like that. They get these bridge shelters and things like that for these people to go through path. And these people, a lot of people have said that they have not received housing. They have been there for a couple of years. They want to ask for your social security number. They want your birth certificate. They want your state ID card, your driver's license card. They want all kind of information on you when you walk in. But no one is telling you what they can do for you. No one was telling you anything or what they can do for you outside of giving you a bed. No one is telling you that there is money available for you to receive. No one is telling you that the city has a program that can give you money, $1,000 a month, and while you're staying here, you can get your $1,000 a month, and so on and so forth. And they want people to sign documents to say that affidavits that we want you to be able to sign an affidavit to say that we represent you, like they're your representative or they're your consultorship or something like that. And I met quite a few people who have said that they have never received their money. They never got their money from the EDD pandemic. Most of the people were supposed to get $20,000 in the pandemic of the EDD. And the people that did get their money from the pandemic, from the EDD, unemployment, COVID-19, unemployment money that was given to them, most of these people got $20,000. And those people that did get their money from the pandemic got their money because they never went into these programs. They never went into these shelters. They never went into these places because they had their own P.O. boxes, such as street address P.O. boxes. That's like having a regular address P.O. box. And these are the people that got their own monies, and people who did have a place to stay or had a place for their address to go to, maybe at a friend's house and so on and so forth. And even some of those people started getting kind of shady with people money when they had friends and that was doing the input for them for their unemployment, and then they may have gotten their money, and then they might later on say that the check didn't come or the card didn't come, so on and so forth. But most of the people that did get it got it because they had their address somewhere else. But when they started living in these shelters at the bridge and different places like that, a lot of these people said they never received their money. And they never got their Bank of America Visa cards. They never got it. I talked to quite a few people, and then they had to start refiling for their monies again. People started getting tax liens saying that they owe taxes from different agencies and different city agencies saying that they owe taxes and liens and things like that and back payments and this and that just so they can make money because there are people who are in business to make money on debt. So what they do is create a debt so they can make money. So if they have something coming in, such as the pandemic money, they don't want them to get their money. So they try to create a debt, which is fraud. Also, there are a lot of agencies where such as St. Joseph's, they'll say, okay, we're with this St. Joseph's of Lhasa, so on and so forth, and they'll pick people up off the streets and say, okay, we're going to help place you in homes and things like that, and hotels and motel rooms and things and so forth. And what has happened is that a lot of people have not gotten the support that they deserve with these programs. Let me give you an example. You move into one of these hotels that's supposed to be for the pandemic, the homeless, so on and so forth. Some of these hotels that I know of, that I've been told from people who have went into these hotels, they said they run these hotels like you in jail, like you in prison. And that's probably true because the LAPD are always a sponsorship to a lot of these programs. And a lot of these programs want to use the LAPD as a sponsorship, as a backup to do the shit that they do behind the scenes. If they have a problem with you, they want to be able to call them and have scapegoats. There have been times where people have had transitional housing and programs where they can just throw you out on the streets and have access to their Social Security, and then they're just a temporary bed and so on and so forth, and just throw them out, and then they have access to their money and things like that, and it's just an easy kick out for them. You have people who are placed in hotels and motels, and they can't have visitors. They can't receive mail there. There's supposed to be phones on, and there's no phones on. Some places are supposed to have front desk attendants of regular hotel staff, and the regular hotel staff is supposed to continue on from the owners who own the hotels because that's how a hotel is ran. Hotel is not ran just from some agency to walk in to your establishment and your business and start running your hotel, and ain't nobody at the front desk no more. That's not how hotels are ran. There have been organizations such as Get Love. Get Love had been in the past a agency that helped people. That's ran by Eileen Getty, who is the daughter of Elizabeth Taylor, and she has an organization called Get Love. When Get Love used to work with in Hollywood area and all through out of Los Angeles area and Hollywood and different areas, they used to place people in hotels as well too. But the front desk attendants and the owners never changed. Get Love never went into their hotel saying, okay, we're going to take over, run your hotel and things. They never did that. They brought people into the hotels. They gave them their ID at the front desk the same way that they do a regular check-in, and then the rooms are available for them to place people in, to sleep in. Everything is the same. They didn't have to have restrictions with not having visitors and things like that. Family members can still come see their friends and family members at the hotels. It wasn't any restrictions. They were able to check in, check out, and as they would do any hotel. But now you have these other organizations now that come along and pick people up off the streets, and they'll just say, oh, what's your last 4 digits of Social Security, and so on and so forth. And you can't have visitors, you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And And then what I noticed is that it wasn't like it is now. Like when we had agencies like Get Love, for example, when they used to place people and help people out, they did give people Section 8. These people did get Section 8 vouchers. These people got Section 8 vouchers through the Housing Authority of Los Angeles and maybe the County of Los Angeles or wherever they may have been at the time whenever they did the support of the homeless themselves. And these people were giving applications from the Housing Authority. They filled them out. They brought them to them personally, filled it out, gave it to them. You were able to even walk in the applications to the Housing Authority yourself on foot and turn it in yourself, or you can have the applications turned in through Get Love representative. The Get Love representative would go over with you to the Housing Authority and turn in the applications for emergency housing placement for people who might have been homeless or veterans and so on and so forth. And they help them fill out their applications and turn it in, and they walk them in, have an appointment with the Housing Authority reps, case managers themselves. They'll go in there with you, sit in the lobby with you as your agent rep from the organization, and going with you, and you go in and the staff will call your name, and you'll go in and talk to the staff, give your information and everything to the staff member at Housing Authority, and you will see them, talk to them, come back out, have an appointment. Then you go in for your orientation of Section 8. And then after you go in for your orientation of Section 8, then they hand out your homeless voucher or your just housing voucher to you, and you have your housing voucher, and then you begin your search for your home, apartment, mobile home, or wherever you're going to live in, and a condo, townhouse, whatever you're going to live in, that you can find with your housing Section 8 voucher. And that is not what has been going on with people. People have not been getting that support like Get Love was giving them. People have not been being placed in homes. What it has been looking like is human trafficking, like a human trafficking haven. It's too much movement going around. And with the support of the Los Angeles LAPD coming to the parks, coming to different places to say you have to move and this and that and leave and this and that, park rangers or whatever it's supposed to be, gate off different spaces and things like that, they had started the Project Roomkey when the pandemic hit. But the Project Roomkey is not something that was brand new with the COVID-19. The Project Roomkey was already in effect. The Project Roomkey had already been in effect from the beginning through HUD. All you have to do is go on the HUD website of any state of HUD and find out what programs they have available for people, for the homeless, for people who are builders, contractors, real estate agents, whatever. They got all kind of different programs for different sections of HUD that people need, and they can lend. Whenever you have an agency that just want to have someone walk up to you off the streets, you need to be skeptical when you just don't see things happening the way that you wanted to. I have talked to people who have said that they have given their supposedly these free license applications to people to get their ID cards and say, well, you can have your ID card come to our agency, like St. Joseph's and other agencies like that in the surrounding areas of Venice, California, Los Angeles, or wherever they're supposed to be set up at. People helping people different places. Some people fill out the post office forms where they're supposed to receive their mail. Some people receive their mail. Some people do not receive their mail. You can't reverse the mail where you can say, well, I want my mail to go to a different place. You have to just discontinue getting your mail there and sign a form that you're going to discontinue getting your mail there. It's too much movement. Hotels, hostels can all receive mail. If you're going to be an overnight stay, few days stay, you can have packages delivered. If they want to set it up that way, you can receive your mail no matter where you go. It's available. You can ask them over the phone, so on and so forth. Even when agencies such as Get Love was able to assist people were able to walk in off the streets and talk to the hotel management and say, I heard about a program that I can stay for the night or so on and so forth. And they said, okay, well, Get Love or Sonny Duran or Eileen Getty is the person to talk to. Here's their number, so on and so forth. Or they might have just let them check in or have a room or however they handled it like that. The way they handled it is the way it was supposed to be handled. Because you see results. When you have people who have just given up their information and their identity to people at these agencies and you never receive your mail, then you start seeing flyers of people missing, so on and so forth. You ask people, well, where are the homes at? Where the housing at? Where are we looking? We don't know yet, and so on and so forth. Then you need to be skeptical. There are agencies there are some shelters out in Newport Beach and different places that I have called about and spoken to some of the reps, and those reps are actually real estate agents. Real estate agents who can actually find you housing, who can help you with getting placed in housing. I know people who have actually gone through real estate agents to get placed in housing and to help them find a place to live, even if they have a Section 8 voucher, and they can tell them their situation, and a housing real estate agent or real estate broker can assist them. Some real estate brokers know about these programs, some do not. It depends on the capacity, I guess, of what they're working in, but they should know if they're in the real estate because that's their job to know. And that's the reason why they will hold a license. So there is a way to do things because by law, only a real estate agent can do certain aspects of finding homes and housing for people, even rentals. Because they have clients who place their buildings up for sale or buildings up for rent, sublets, so on and so forth. There are contracts in place with them to find people to lease to. Whether it's income, dealing with your income, so on and so forth, you can't go that route even if you're homeless. And when you're dealing with people who are not licensed on the streets, you can be set up for a scam. People use criteria of being in prison, mental illness, so on and so forth. And I'm a person, I'm always talking about mental healthiness. Everyone has all kind of different situations of why they might have become homeless. A lot of them are from crisis. A lot of them are from the earthquakes. A lot of people were sent to California from Katrina earthquake that are still here in California from the Katrina earthquake that never got back into their homes. In Louisiana, people were bused through different states from Louisiana to different states for the Hurricane Katrina. And I even worked as a supervisor for the Hurricane Katrina to help people to get the financing that they needed to do relocation. Now, the project Roomkey, as I said before, has been around for a long time. And then when I even went onto the website again, there's a new program that's supposed to transfer over from the Project Roomkey to the Project Homekey. And the Project Homekey works in the aspect of owners of hotels, of apartment buildings, assist people in this situation again that are homeless. And the Los Angeles City Housing Authorities is supposed to help pay for the rent for the people to live there. And they want people who have commercial property, such as storage spaces, commercial buildings, to turn their commercial buildings into residential places for the homeless. How do people find out where these places are? How do they find out who's turning and converting these businesses into residents? How do they do that? There's supposed to be a listing. When they get approved for financing, it's a list that you can go online to find out who is approved, and there's a listing there for them to find out. That's how you find out who's approved or not. There's a listing. And when you look at that list, then you will know who's really a site for Project Roomkey or Homekey, how much they were financed and given, and so on and so forth. And that's in every state of HUD. Now, the government again, through the White House, through the city, through the state, so on and so forth, have another program where people, when they were talking about giving people who are in need, like the $2,000 a month that they wanted, that Biden was supposed to approve, the $2,000 a month that Trump was working on as he was exiting the White House. Well, what happened was that certain cities decided to do a lottery on picking and hand selecting people, supposedly, through a draw of hand selection of picking people, just like they do when they do certain programs with getting low-income housing. They do a lottery type of program. Well, that lottery program has been around all along anyway, so that's no different. So, but with this lottery program that they decided to consider to be a lottery, instead of just giving out the money to the people that are homeless, which is something they don't really want to do, what they do is say, okay, there's $1,000 a month that they're going to give people for 12 months. And it might really have been $2,000 a month, but I guess the city decides how much they want to give. So if it was really $2,000, they decide they want to give $1,000, and that's what they'll give. So $1,000 a month to people who are homeless, which is supposed to be relocation fees. And these relocation fees also go by your family size, how much you might have made, whether you're homeless, working, and you're homeless, whether you are currently a family of one or a family of 8, 9, 10, or whatever it may be. They have a different amount for each family. I picked up a flyer from West Hollywood, California, and they show how much money they're giving out. They're giving out $1,000 a month to homeless people for the for up to 2024. You can go online and apply on your own for these programs. No one has to apply for you. You can do it for yourself. So when an agency says that they can do that for you, I look at it as a way of people getting your ID to apply for themselves and get your money on their own. That's how I see it. Because if these people have never received their money that I've met and ran into, that I've heard complaining about, then I would highly look into it. So what you should do, and I suggest with people now that have been in this situation and that may listen to this podcast, because my podcast is in 73 countries. But what I suggest that you all do who have been in this situation with going into programs or the bridge and things like that, if you have had a situation where you've had someone ask you for your ID, social security number, birth certificate, and I have no idea what your birth certificate got to do with anything getting Section 8, because I've never heard of that before, because I know when people had the earthquake, Section 8, all you needed was a state ID and a utility bill at the time of residency or where you lived at when they were giving out emergency Section 8 at the earthquake. And at that time, Red Cross was helping people, FEMA was helping people, and all the people from these agencies that were helping people at these agencies were there on site for people to go to with their families, themselves, roommates, to get the assistance directly from the agencies that gave it. They didn't have no third parties coming up to you asking you for your identity. So some of this may work, some of this may not. But I'm just saying. So that's how it was done in the 90s. This is 2021. So people were doing things directly with the agencies themselves. They gave you the voucher and everything on the spot. You gave your utility bill ID. That was it. Showed that you lived there and moved on about your life. Went to Red Cross, went to FEMA, and asked for their assistance. Called them online. However, FEMA reps came out to the home to see the site. And they tell how much it would cost, because these were real inspectors anyway, with licenses, with ID badges, and so on and so forth, with a photograph on it. So I would suggest that that if you've been someone who have had people who have not looked out for you, and you have not received your benefits and things like that, and you have had your mail going to different organizations, and you have not gotten your ID cards and things that you need for your Social Security, I highly suggest that you go online to the FBI, print out an FBI form, pay $18, and get a printout of your FBI background. The FBI is going to show everything on your background, and they will send it to you, mail it to you. I highly suggest that you take an extra few dollars and get a regular P.O. box at the post office, or get you a P.O. box at a place that has a street address, like at a UPS store or something like that, and get your mail there 24 hours or something like that. Because you can be subject to identity theft if you don't. Because the FBI can have an idea of where you've been, who you've been dealing with, so on and so forth. Because what people would do was just change hats, change shirts, and things like that, and act like that they weren't even involved. And if they have people like agencies like the LAPD to back them up, then they seem like they're a little secure with that because they feel like we have their back up to say what we want to say. Well, nobody overrides the FBI or Homeland Security or the U.S. Marshals, because we saw people just being pulled in the parking lot at Wendy's just the other day that were picking up people and things like that, and they zoomed in and blocked them in. So they watching. Even what the LAPD does, best to believe that. So go on and get a printout of yourself, and it will tell you who applied for this, who applied for that, because that's what the FBI does. They keep track of stuff like that. So if someone applied for something for you, or they did something, or they said you supposed to apply for it, it's going to pop up. Bank accounts, you name it. If it's blocked, if you have liens, whatever it is, it's going to be found out. It's going to be found out. Somebody got to enter the data somewhere. They'll track it down somewhere. IP numbers, whatever it is, they'll track it down. They will track it down. If you ever get lien letters in the mail, always take it to the agency that it supposedly come from. If you get a unemployment letter saying you owe $700,000 and things like that, take it to the ED office. The ED office will tell you if it's their letter or not. They can identify it with their own letters. There are a lot of people who go online to agencies and banks and say, print out a form, print out an affidavit, send to us. We only work online or remotely. Every bank has online banking. And most of these banks, you can walk into their branches, and there's a lot of online banking, but there's a lot of online banking with apps too. But, you have to be careful with that as well. But they have to be bona fide. But what you need to do when you're dealing with banks, go online to your state agency for bank approval banks and find out if your bank is approved to be a bank. And you can print that in, type in search, and they'll bring up bank institutions, commercial bank institutions, credit unions, so on and so forth. The banks that get the charters, they'll come up. If they're a lending bank, if they're a prepaid company, they give you prepaid payday loans, so on and so forth. Go on the website and see if they're listed, if they're approved, and you'll find out. That's what you can do. You can go to Social Security and request for data on your application filings, or filing for Social Security numbers, or requesting a Social Security card for you. Because there are agencies, they'll say, oh, well, we can request a card for you and get it for you, and so on and so forth. Beware. Decline in doing so. You've been doing for yourself on the streets all this time. Continue to do for yourself. You're still your head of household. You're still a single person who can take care of yourself. People always want to put crazy on people. They crazy for thinking that they can just do what they want to do with people's background and you never see anything. Well, I'm here to tell you what you need to do. Go on the site and find out if it's real or not. Go walk over there and see if they really have that. Go to the post office, the USPS post office, and say, is this address having authority to receive my ID card or form? Find out. Find out the postal carrier who's on that route about the address that they want your mail to come to. These are things that you have to do for yourself. A lot of people put up flag mirror websites. Contact the credit bureaus and let them know your situation. Let them know where you've been. Let them know who asked for your information and report it to them. So when it comes up and they say something is owed or due or you got a lien, let them know. Write the IRS and let the IRS know. No one overrides the federal IRS. If you receive a city lien or a state lien letter, take it to the IRS. Mail it to the IRS. Fax it to the IRS with a letter. Or walk into the IRS or request an appointment from the IRS and take the letters with you. The IRS will always tell you, bring them into us. Why? Because we are the ones who give you your money, and we give money from the federal level to the state to the city. You have to have a IRS tax return first before you can owe money to anything else. You have to make money first before you can owe money. And just because you make money don't necessarily mean that you will owe money. Everyone's situation is different. If you've been dealing with schooling and things like that, continue to deal with your schooling directly. Continue to call who you've been calling through FAFSA directly and get your information directly. Continue to update directly. Because they're open. Because when you start seeing things and saying, oh, we never got it, that never happened, then you know these people have ran off with your identity. Let family members that you trust know that. Homeless people can get their mail at the Social Security office. Not the Social Security office, but the, what do you call that? The Social Services office. Public Social Services. You can get your unemployment check at the unemployment office. Of course, they want to know that because they don't want to have to keep paying you money anyway. But they know you got an income coming in, but they'll work with you. But you can pick up your mail at the Social Services. For free. State ID card, Social Security check, unemployment check. They got a listing of what mail you can receive at the social services office. They have a listing of what kind of mail you can receive. Right there. When people are dealing with in the social service aspect, they're also supposed to have a license to be a social service worker in every state. Mental health or whatever capacity they're supposed to be working in. They're supposed to have a badge with their picture, an ID number, and so on and so forth. Look them up. You can't always be a person to take a person's word for things. Type in licensed nursing, state of California, or whatever it is. Social service personnel, or whatever it is. Licensed state social service, whatever area aspect they're supposed to work in, psychology, whatever area it's supposed to be in. Look them up. You can look up an inmate. Search. You can look them up on that. That's public record. You can look up a person if they're a sex offender. You can look them up on that too. There's a lot of things that you can do that's public record and find out if you want to. And if it's not correct, then you can correct it yourself. So, if you have been in these paths or whatever, let your friends and family members know where you are located. You know, people that you trust and want to know and concerned about you. There are people who are not concerned about their relatives and family members, that they don't call and check on their relatives at all. Then there's some people who do check on their relatives, but they don't let them know that they're checking on them and seeing if they're all right, but some do. Things like that. But if you have children and family members, let them know what's going on. Check behind people. Don't take people's word for things. Check behind people and find out what they're doing. But what you do is when you hear about these programs, go to the program website of HUD and just look up homeless program section, landlord section, and look at the forms, look at the documents, look at what people are giving you. Print it out. Print out the RFTAs. Print it out. Take it to these agencies directly and turn it in, and they'll tell you if it's theirs or not. You'll find out then. Walk it in. Get an appointment. Don't matter if you owe money or not. You might find out that you don't, or you may supposed to be getting more than you're supposed to get. And I know there are relatives of people that I know that work for the state agencies, but they don't want you to see the money. They'll take it from you too. Because I have a lot of relatives that work within the social service aspect, federal, so on and so forth. That's when people get to retiring. They might not be making a lot of money when they're retiring. Make sure that people are not claiming you on their income taxes and so on and so forth. Continue, especially if you're a homeless person going through something, continue to let a consistency of the IRS know, and agencies like that know directly where you are, how you file, so on and so forth. Make a contingent of letting them know how things are handled for you. They will look into it. You can get your own counselor as well. And rep to talk to. And that's what the IRS does. They will assign you your own rep by phone and in person. Locally. Not remotely, locally. So, these are things that you need to do. I would still make police reports. If you don't receive your ID cards, make police reports of where you had your mail go to. Go to the post office, because the post office is the first step that delivers your mail, and the mail carrier is the one who sorts the mail before the mail goes out, and go meet your local mail carrier of that postal office of that zip code and meet with them and give them the address, and they'll give you the mail carrier of that route, and they'll tell you where your mail went to. They'll tell you if your mail was returned to them They'll tell you if the address that you had your mail go to was even forwarded to another address. They will let you know. But the biggest thing to do is to go to the FBI website, download a form, and find out information on yourself. And then you do your fingerprints and take it into the sheriff department, and they will do the rest of the work for you to submit it. And you can attach a letter along with your FBI printout, your FBI form for yourself, um, um, a background check on yourself, and attach a letter of where you been, where you lived, who you gave your information to, who you talked to, so on and so forth. I guarantee you them people won't be working there long. They'll be gone and they'll say, oh, they're not here anymore, or they're not this, they're not that. And be aware of companies of people who don't have phone lines and just cell phones only. So that's something that I want to be helpful to people who are going through these things. Be direct with the agencies directly, because you don't want to have a mistaken identity. And there are a lot of agencies that hire people who are ex-cons, former felons, and people who have second chance opportunities to have employment and things like that too. There are programs that even work through the state with medical and things like that, that I found out through certain doctors that inmates make certain things with clothing and things like that, and they get them second chance opportunities at all kind of different agencies. So you just gotta really be on top of things at all times. Because people know that you are taking care of business type of person. They want to try to, modify some things along the way. So, also, if you're a person who deals with medical and things like that, it's always good to do your DNA ancestry test. It's good to do a DNA ancestry test, because I learned that there are some people who work in that aspect too. But DNA ancestry test can give you a background of what really ran in your family, whether it was diabetes, mental health, anxiety, so on and so forth. They can find that all that out for you as well, versus somebody sitting in front of you saying that you have an issue and you're mentally ill. Well, if you know it doesn't run in your family, then no one can override that if it's not a history of it. So, in the family thing, that I've learned by certain doctors over the years, when a doctor asks you a question about family history, some doctors will ask you, are relatives and siblings, are these siblings half siblings, or are they step siblings? Is this a stepmother or a whole mother? Do you have the same mother and the same father, or do you have a different mother or a different father, or were you adopted? Some doctors go into details like that with you when they're looking at health history. Because if you don't have the same mother and father, some doctors don't consider you to have a sibling if you don't have the same mother and father. They'll say, but then you don't have any other siblings, because that's not the same when it comes to health history. For some reason, I've met doctors like that. Because I guess dealing with, maybe if you have to give maybe a kidney or something, I don't know. But some doctors are like that. I've been told that if it's not the same, it could be different. Or whatever they're looking for as far as history and medical. It wouldn't be the same thing, because that means whoever that other parent is might carry something that you don't have. So you can't say that's really a family history, because it's not on that side of that family of your history chart. You feel me? So, you know, talk to your doctors when they're talking to you about family history. Give them an idea. They'll say that your half sister or whatever. Some doctors will ask that, you know. Then they'll know, oh, it did come from my grandfather or my uncle, whatever. Then there's some people who don't even know their parents because they were adopted, or they just never knew them at all, whatever situation it may be. Um, but but dealing with history, if you get a DNA ancestry test, you can pull some of your data and find out um, if that. But birth certificates and social security numbers, remember, are not considered identity. So you have to consider that as well. Um, or proof of identity, you know, depending on what you're doing. It's okay for the DMV and getting a passport, but not for other things and aspects. They might not consider that. I don't think the I don't think the Social Security considers your birth certificate to be a form of identity. They got a listing of what they consider to be the form of identity as well. So, just, always try to, if you can, keep a copy somewhere safe. They used to have safe deposit boxes at banks. I don't know if they still have safe deposit boxes at banks. Or use your P.O. box there. If you need to have a backup and just leave a copy of your ID inside your P.O. box or something. That could be like your safe deposit box or something. Or, work it out. Make good relationships with people. Okay? So, dealing with giving you anything of type of support, go on the websites directly, look them up. They might have you apply directly online on your own, and do that. And apply directly online on your own. And as far as the only thing that FEMA that I know was giving out, they told me that the only thing they did was pay for funerals. It's on their website. So keep looking at the different agencies and see what they do directly. Print it out for yourself and apply for yourself online. And you might have the dates to apply for, and so on and so forth. And just go that route for yourself, and try to get things done on your own directly for yourself, and look at and see if you can get an appointment with them and go there directly to sit down and talk to them about their program, or what is and what's not. Any documents someone may give you, take them to them directly and see if it's theirs. Say, I printed this off from your website, but is this also your document? And let them verify your documents as well. And they'll tell you yay or nay. Even if you get a letter saying that it's old and they tell you to call a number, just go straight to the agency on your own. Locally, get an appointment, or if they do walk-ins, walk in and say, I got this letter. Is this your letter? Did you send me this letter? More likely, they'll tell you no. Why? Because they would have assigned you someone particularly to you individually. And they would know you and you would know them. But what you have to do is go in there and talk to them, and they'll find out if that's an employee at their agency as well. And if it's true, then it should be there. So, I hope this podcast commentary has been supportive and helpful to you all that's going through this. And not everyone wants the help of these agencies. They want to continue to do things on their own. And that's a good thing, because a lot of community colleges are supportive to you. Tuition is free in California. So if you're interested in going back to school for something online, hybrid, California is a state that has free college tuition. And as I was told as a child, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. So go on ahead and get that free education as well too. And apply for all the programs that they may have available for a student as well. Okay? I hope I've been helpful and encouraging to you all. And Project Roomkey is no longer going on. Project Roomkey has faded out, and now it's supposedly be now the Homekey program, and the Homekey program is supposed to pay owners, hotel owners, and people to have people at their hotels. They're supposed to pay them directly for having people there at their hotels, and then you're supposed to receive a monthly income yourself of $1,000. Maybe your city area may pay more money, or county may pay more money. Maybe it could be $2,000 in another county, but it's available for you to receive it directly, and have an income to come in, and find out, but more likely the city hall of the city would have that information for you to go on their online website to find out and what's available. And they'll also have listings of current new homes that were built as well too. And landlords, I know in the state of California, I don't know if it's nationwide or not, can no longer deny people who have Section 8 vouchers to live in their home, because that's how you solve the homeless problem, with having a Section 8 voucher. So take out the listings and print out these listings of these newly built homes, and find out, do business with them. Say, hey, fill out this RFTA so I can, maybe get my rent there if you're willing to accept it. And you have tiny homes now that are built, and people can get tiny home loans through Wells Fargo, which are not the same loans as conventional loans. They're different loans as well. So you can do that too. But I'd be skeptical of anyone who say that they don't know something. They don't know where location is. Well, go on your instincts about things. But always remember, get your own P.O. box and things like that, and put your P.O. box street address on your ID card, and so on and so forth. Sometimes people lose ID, and there's a good Samaritan that will bring your ID to you if you lose it. If you lose your wallet, I've seen people lose their ID, and I mail their whole wallet back to them, to the address that's on their wallet. And one time I did that and I was on my way to Vegas, and I saw that same person in Las Vegas that left their wallet on the bus, and I mailed it to them. And the guy was walking down the street smiling, and he was happy to have his wallet back. And I said, I was the person who mailed your wallet to you. And he was, oh, well, thank you, because I needed it for my job. And I sent it back. So go ahead and do a good Samaritan for somebody if they lose their identity, and put it back in the mail to them. And don't take nothing out of it. Just put it in the mail and mail it to them, because you will want somebody to do the same for you, because it could be a headache trying to get everything back and stuff, But keep the agencies that need to be updated on your background updated. Changes and so on and so forth. Call them up and say, what address do you have on me? What phone number do you have on me? And so on and so forth. And make sure that it's updated. And if you have emails, change your password frequently. Or get a new email. and so on and so forth. So right now, like I said, Project Roomkey has faded out, and now it's supposed to be Homekey now. But it looked like it's more beneficial to business owners than anything, because they get the financing to, have people there. But at the same time, we're in a new phase where people are supposed to receive a monthly income from the city or the state for the next 2 years, which is about $1,000 a month. So if you're interested in receiving that, then apply at your local city hall. They're the ones supposed to be giving out. I know I picked up a flyer from West Hollywood, and they had the flyer that you can apply online on their website and get $1,000 a month for going through whatever that you're going through. And don't know how many people apply for it, but it's supposed to be a lottery or whatever. But go ahead and apply if you want to and see if you'll get it. Then again, you may get it, may not, but you might be where the city might see it or the state might see it, and they might just, federal might just go ahead and start sending it to you anyway, and just, go ahead and just apply, and you might just start getting a check anyway, whether they approve you or not, through their allotment of funds that they receive. Or you can go into the local social services of your city hall, because some city halls have a social service section, and you can talk to their social service people, and they'll give you information even further on what you can get as well too. So just do that, everyone. Okay, this is Variety Shunavir Fakashi Media Podcast Live. Give me your commentary update on what's going on in different programs and aspects dealing with the homeless crisis. Take care. Thank you for listening.